Professor Law, could you tell us which ingredients we're going to be using this week?
So this week we're making a French tomato bisque soup, and this is one of the favorites in Operation Soup Pot Love. It's really simple, and if you grew up eating Campbell's soup, one of the things that you can do is, for not a whole lot more money, actually make something that serves many more people, doesn't have a lot of preservatives in it, and can be seasoned to the taste that your family likes. So one of the things we're going to be using is crushed tomatoes, and everyone will be getting a jar of this. We're also going to be using baking soda to de-acidify the tomatoes, and this is an important step in the soup that you cannot miss. Where everybody's going to get a box of this. My recommendation is that you empty half of the box into a little cup and put it in your refrigerator to absorb odors, and you use the other part. We're going to be using some spices. This is my favorite spice for working with tomatoes. It's called marjoram. Marjoram is a spice that is originally from Central Asia. It's a very fragile plant. Everyone this summer who wants one and has a place to plant one on a deck or a patio or a garden will give you a plant to grow your own marjoram. At the end of the season it's finished, but it's really, really fragrant and lovely. We're also giving everyone a little jar of paprika and some garlic powder. And we'll be using soup stock, vegetable stock. And if you have your own vegetable stock or you have another kind of vegetable stock, that's fine. We'll be using half and half, and water, and vegetable stock. And we'll be using an onion. So these things together are going to make a delicious soup that we then flavor to taste with salt and pepper. But this is really my favorite soup. And at the end, we're going to eat it with a grilled cheese sandwich. Okay.
So let's get started. I have never made this soup before and I'm so excited to learn it. If you grew up eating canned soups, this is such a great way to spice things up and expand your palate. So we're going to start by dicing this onion. So right now we're getting our vegetable stock ready to make our thickening agent. So first we're going to shake this up. Whatever vegetable stock you're using, just make sure it's all shaken up. And set aside about half a cup to 2/3 of a cup of vegetable stock. That's good. And then we're going to add in 2 heaping tablespoons of our flour. So I'm just going to come over here. Put in 1. And put in 2. Now I'm going to stir this up, and when you see us next, we're going to have this ready made. But when you stir it, just make sure to get all the lumps out, smash the spoon against the side a little, just make sure it's nice and creamy. We need to talk about our pots. Here we have this little guy that most of us are used to using for our canned soups. However, we're going to be using this one. He's much bigger, and we're doing this because this soup is going to feed a lot more people than a little can of soup for the same price. And we're going to first start by putting in our olive oil. So you're gonna look at the bottom of your pot and fill it almost so that the olive oil covers the bottom, not fully though. So you can just see where I stop, and that's good. So our oil has been heating on medium-high for a bit. We're gonna take our beautifully chopped onion and bring it all the way over to the pot. And gently scrape it in. You've got that nice sizzle. So we don't waste any of the onion. So. And now with our wooden spoon, we're going to just toss it over a little. Maybe lower your heat, because we're going to leave this until it gets translucent, just for a few seconds. Now, as our onions are sizzling, we're going to really quickly measure out 1 teaspoon of our spices, our paprika, our garlic powder, and our marjoram. So let's get that in a plate. So now we have our spices that we're going to use. And as I bring this over here, I just want to talk a little bit about the variations you can put into your soup. If you want to make this a little more Italian, you can do so. If you want to put some curry leaves in, you can do so. It's all based on your palate and what you want to do, but this is where you do it. So now if we take a look at our onions, They're beautiful and brown, and we are ready to add the tomatoes. So while we do this, we're gonna really emphasize de-acidifying the tomatoes. This is a new step we're learning this week, and it's super crucial to this recipe. So we're going to first add in our can of tomatoes. Get all of that in there. And now, while it starts to heat up, and we stir it around a little, we're going to measure out exactly 1 teaspoon of baking soda that we have right here. We are doing this because if we do not neutralize the acid in the tomatoes and we add the milk afterward, it's gonna curdle, it's gonna be a mess, and we just don't want to eat that. So we're gonna add in our teaspoon of baking soda and stir that in. And you can start to hear a slight sizzle. That's the acid neutralizing, and that's exactly what we want. It's foaming, actually. Look at that, perfect.
We have to foam this for quite a bit. You need to stir this while it's foaming up for a good minute so that every part of the tomato is covered with the baking soda.
So you should go ahead and stir it for about a few minutes. Okay, so now we're gonna add our liquid ingredients. So we're gonna take 1.5 cups of our vegetable stock first. Measure that out one more time. Okay. There we have 1.5 cups. I'm gonna add this in to our foamed tomatoes. Mix that around really quickly and go back for our milk. So we can use alternatives to half and half. We're using half and half, but you can use oat milk, other types of milk. It's really up to your choosing. I'm going to take another 1.5 cups. And now we're going to get our soup all creamy. We can use more of the cream if you like and less of the stock if you want a thicker soup. You can also add more thickening agent, which we have kept to the side that we made earlier. Okay, mix that in one more time. And there you have your beautiful creamy tomato color. And we're going to go back now for our thickening agent. So now we're going to thicken our soup. People often think that the soup is thick because of a thicker cream, but it's really from this step right here. So we're going to be adding in our thickening agent. It's nice and liquid right here in my hand. And what I'm going to do is keep stirring the soup with one hand and slowly add in the thickening agent with the other. So we're going to do this because the thickening agent is going to cook as it heats up. And it's going to thicken the soup, but we need to make sure that it's evenly dispersed. So we're going to slowly keep doing that little by little. Should get it everywhere in there. Okay. If you want to make it thicker, you can add more thickening agent. If you want it gluten-free, instead of using flour, you could possibly use cornstarch or tapioca flour or rice flour or even chickpea flour, anything your culture uses. There's no reason the soup has to include dairy or gluten. It can be substituted with a multitude of ingredients and it would taste just fine either way. And we're going to cook this for 3 minutes. It's starting to get thicker. I can feel it with my spoon. And as the flour cooks, we have to keep stirring it. Do not leave it unattended for at least 3 minutes. So now our soup is almost ready. We're just going to salt and pepper to taste. So we've already tasted this, and though our vegetable stock does have some salt in it, we're still gonna add it in, about a teaspoon of salt. I guess a little less than this for this. But we're gonna add in a little bit of salt, and I always like to add fresh pepper on top of everything I make. So we're gonna do that. Too much never hurts. And stir that in, and we are ready to serve. So we have served our soup the classic way that it's always served, with grilled cheese, and it's perfect, especially on a rainy day, and really hope you enjoy.